So for me, fruit has two different purposes. You have the flesh, the colour, the flavour, the skin, the sugar, therefore the alcohol, therefore all of the high-end ketones and esters and everything that's up in your face. This is the attraction factor. This is for the bird to come along and eat the grape. The truth of the grape is in the seed or in the dry matter of the skin. It's the genetic matter that let's say information that the vine has been able to draw from its property and issue into its prospective progeny, into its offspring, so it can be successful in that same environment. This is what carries the notion of terroir. You can't smell or taste a seed. It's a texture, a feel, and a form. We know this from the classic model. The reference points are the difference between a Fürstentum or a Schlossberg or let's say a Von Romani and a Nuit Saint-Georges. It's not plums and cherries or anything like that. It's a shape and a form and a feel. So our interest as wine growers is much more following that. It's much more following texture, how it feels upon you. For me, especially in Central Otago, where we have a very strong climate and very strong exposure to UV and to light, in our climate, fruit and flower, and on schist, fruit, fire and light. Schist is silica, fire and light, fruit and flower. Olfactory senses are a total given. To look past that, to work past that, we have to try and focus on precision and detail and what schist is all about, power through compression and drive rather than opulence and mass. To do that, and to answer your question about how do we work that, another idea, this time perhaps from Jules Chauvet, is this idea of anabolism and catabolism. You've got this life cycle, a life curve, let's say, that takes a plant that's grounded in its land and is pulling up life, essentially life force into its fruit, and it's the summit of all of that is the fruit. The summit of the life cycle is the reproductive, is once it releases its progeny. So it's when the grape drops or it's cut off. From that moment, it goes into a death cycle, into a catabolic curve, if you like. Wine is on a death slide. It starts off at fruit, it goes through primary fermentation, through malolactic, through acetobacter, all the way to vinegar. And it's our craft, part of our craft is to understand where to arrest that and where to issue it into an inert recipient, into a bottle and present it for consumption. That's our craft, is understanding those two cycles. In the New World, as we've been communicating our wines and qualifying our wines by olfactory senses, by fruit and flower and flavours and smells and all these things, we've tried to keep the wines right up here next to the fruit. We can't eat, it's not digestible, this, for me. You're making perfume, you're making something that's not actually something for the body. You can't walk up to a vine and eat a bottle's worth of fruit directly off the vine, and it'll make you sick, it'll give you a guts ache. It's beautiful, it's tasty, it smells good, it looks good, but it's not digestible. Somewhere along that, further down, the wine gets more tonic, more vinous, vin, vinegar. It's something that's more assimilable, if that's a word, to the human body. Is the classic example in this. One way of making wine might be